Astros are on the cusp of announcing their new manager. We'll talk about this, the report, and what it means going forward, as well maybe who our thoughts are on the next bench coach for the Houston Astros. Let's talk about it right now.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
Oh, I guess it would help if you take. We are Locked On Houston Astros. You can find us on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can they can find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, so this episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat up to 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's jacemedical.com. I could have gone and I could have just taken my antibiotics I had in it, but I did go to a doctor. But if I didn't have the ability to go to a doctor, I would have used what's in what I have in my Jace case. And yes, I am alive. A lot of people have been wondering if I was alive. Yes, I am alive. My voice is not there yet, but with Joe Espada being expected to be the next Houston Astros manager, I had to come on and join Brett for a little bit. And so, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast, your team every day. And Brett, I know that we've kind of heard all the names thrown out there. Walt Wise, we heard Ron Washington before he signed with the Angels. We heard all these names. Ray Montgomery was the most recent name we heard. We heard all these names, even Omar Lopez, the Astros first base coach. But we've heard all these names. But throughout the whole time, Joe Espada has been here with the Astros since, I believe, 2018? So this is a guy that knows the Astros. He knows the Astros farm system. He's worked with a lot of these minor leaguers by running spring training. He's run spring training. He knows what it is to be a manager. He's helped Dusty Baker with the analytical part. So I think this makes a lot of sense.
No, yeah. I mean, he's been my number one guy ever since even last season after the end of the 2022 World Series winning season where we beat the Phillies in Game 6, and it was a great year, a great offseason. The parade, the city was on high. We were trying to, go back to back for the first time since the Yankees did it. And I've always said that once Dusty Baker hangs it up and leaves, that Joe Espada absolutely should be the guy in line, because a guy that stays around that long, like you said, knows the culture. He's got a connection with the players. In our little image for the little snapshot for our show, I put a picture of him instructing Jeremy Pena, and that's really a lot of what I see Joe Espada for is what's he like with the players, and
right.
Are the players going to buy into him? And to me, if you go outside of the organization, obviously these are pros. You have a lot of veterans. So it's not like you're going to meet resistance or someone's going to, fold their arms and say, he's not going to be my coach. It's nothing like that, but you always want to keep continuity. And I know this last year was disappointing. I know the way we lost was disappointing. The home playoff woes, the home woes offensively, and maybe keeping in-house and staying with someone like Joe Espada, who has really earned his stripes. And I would rather pay a guy for his loyalty that's been on the coach staff than go get a new manager and hire like a former player. The Yankees have tried this twice and they fired both of those managers. And so it is just one of those things where actually they haven't fired the second one. Sorry. He's still employed, Aaron Boone, but we've seen former players hired, and this was the right play. The next question we'll address here in a second is who will be elevated to bench coach. And I think that's another obvious choice, but I absolutely love this hire. He's been my guy all along. I love what he said. Like you said, he's ran spring training. He has taken over the couple times that Dusty got tossed. He didn't get tossed much. So he had a pretty good record with that.
Right.
But you have confidence because he is young. He is a younger guy. The dude's in excellent shape. And that to me makes a difference. You're going to run out there with the guys. You're going to be hitting to them. You're going to be taking ground balls with them. You're going to be in the action. And I just so excited for him. This is going to be a huge day whenever they make the official announcement, which is expected on Monday.
Yeah, he's 42 years old. Actually, hold on. Sorry, I have all these pop-ups popping up. So basically, he has a lot of coaching experience. He started basically after retiring. He became a coach in Marlins organization. So he was working in minor leagues. Then he became a coach in 2010 with the Marlins as a third base coach. And then he went to work with the New York Yankees as a special assistant to Brian Cashman. And then in 2015, he became the infield coach and the third base coach with the Yankees. And also then he also managed the Gigantes de Carolina. It's a winter baseball team. And then he also managed the Puerto Rican team in the 2017 World Baseball Classic. The Astros hired him after the 2017 season to become their bench coach. Of course, that's when Alex Cora left to become the manager of the Red Sox. He's interviewed for the Rangers position, the Cubs position. And so I want to say he's had a couple other positions that he's interviewed for, but there's been a lot of interest in him in the past, but the Astros have, I think, said, no, we want to keep him. And in fact, Dana Brown misspoke when he said, we have the keys to him. Like, you can't interview him until we say so, but he's actually was out of contract at the end of the season. So he was free to go interview anywhere, but if he's coming back, that means that the Astros want him back. And that means that he wanted to come back. And I think that this is a good fit. And I just think that you needed somebody that knows the players, knows the culture, knows how to speak Spanish. A lot of Latin players on this team. So I just think that Joe Espada is a good fit. We'll talk about some, probably more tomorrow. We'll talk about more people that probably interviewed. Why didn't they take this job? And I think that Craig Counsell probably had a lot to do with it. I mean, he's trying to set the bar high for these salaries, and he did so with $8 million a year salary. So to get a veteran manager, you're going to have to pay some big bucks now, because they're like, well, if Craig Counsell is worth this much, I believe I'm worth this much.
Yeah, exactly. And we definitely want to hit on this question here next. After we talk to the people about Jace Medical, who will be the next bench coach, who's that going to be? But first, let's talk about this. All right, modern medical care and treatment are important, and our global supply chains are fragile in Southeast Texas, along with the coast. We know that we felt the pain, and we want you guys to be aware that Jace Medical is here for you. They have a host of options for you, and you can even get personal prescriptions that fit your needs. All you have to do is talk to their board certified physicians and make sure that you get the right things. They come directly mailed to you, to your home. Not only that, they can send you your physician a message and answer on treatment questions. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace case. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using my code LOCKEDON at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Check them out today to stay in shape and stay feeling well during this season. So Eric, the natural question is, now that we have a manager announced, or I guess he's not announced officially, they haven't had the press conference.
Right.
We're going off of what Bob Nightingale's reporting. Like you mentioned, it was buried in his most recent article.
It's at the very bottom, around the
very bottom. So it's like, let's bury the lead, right? because I don't know if too many people outside of Houston are really like on pins and needles about who the next Astros manager is. They were just hoping that we would hire someone, maybe a retread.
We have breaking news. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. According to Brian McTaggart, the Astros have scheduled an 11 a.m. news conference Monday with GM Dana Brown. It's expected that they will name bench coach Joe Espada as their new manager, as Bob Nightengale reports. So
there you go.
For once,
Nice.
Bob Nightengale gets it right.
Well, I figured this was not one that would be a tough miss. This is like throwing a basketball with a batter. I mean, you're going to hit that ball. So this seemed to be a surefire home run from the get-go. But when we talk about who's going to be bench coach, okay, Omar Lopez, and I've shared some of this before, but just to recount his experience, okay, basically from 2008 to 2019, he has managed in the Astros minor league affiliates. Eric, he was the Astros Player Development Man of the Year in 2010. 2013, he led the High A Quad City River Bandits, who are no longer a team, to an 81-57 record in the Midwest League. He in 2014, 2015, he was in the Venezuelan Professional Baseball League, and he has most recently guided the Hooks to a AA of the AA Texas League in 18 and 19. In 18, he led them to an 82-56 record postseason qualification. And then he was promoted to the first base coach in the 2020 season. He was named the manager of the Venezuelan baseball team in 2023. And so this guy, to me, if anybody on this staff or anybody in baseball deserves to be the bench coach, Omar Lopez is an easy, like, let's just go to him. Because to me, Omar Lopez, Joe Espada is going to be starting his managerial career, but Omar Lopez, I think, is going to be a manager in the future. He's got a lot of respect with players. He's got a heck of a lot of really good experience. So expect him to be on the bench next to Joe Espada. I would be shocked if it was anybody else.
Yeah, I think this is also an opportunity to get somebody from outside the organization and just somebody to get some more, maybe a different philosophy over here. So I don't know who Espada knows. So we don't know who he's worked with in his time with the Marlins, with the Yankees, or is there some other coaches out there that he thinks he would feel more comfortable with? So I don't expect him to bring in somebody like Walt Weiss or somebody like that to be the bench coach. I think Walt Weiss would stay with the Braves over there, but I think that he would probably, as somebody that is a new manager, you want to go out and try to get somebody that has manager experience at the big league level and to kind of be that mentor to Joe Espada. So I see them going out and getting somebody with a manager with big league experience. So somebody out there to kind of help him. I mean, I don't think he's going to need that help, but I think the Astros are going to be like, because we heard Crane saying that we want that big guy. That's why I still think that they went after a big name, but I think that Craig Counsell's signing that really kind of threw a wrench in the gears there and kind of made them have to pivot back to the one that Dana Brown wanted the whole time. A lot of the Astros players probably wanted the whole time. And so I think that Omar Lopez, he's probably a good fit. He knows this team just like Espada does. But I really think that you're going to see something like a Ron Washington type hire, somebody that has that managerial experience who can help you as a first-year manager. That's my opinion.
You mean for the bench coach? Yeah. I look. I'll have to disagree with you on that. Just because you have a guy that has been in the system for nearly 20 years. I mean, this is a long tenure. 2008 till now, the guy's been with the Astros, and you've trusted him enough to elevate him to the major league level. And
Right.
The Astros have this great kind of coaching tree happening. Joe Thon keeps moving up in the organization. I know the organization really likes him. I think in the future, down the road, you could see Joe Thon become one of the candidates or make it up to this club. You wonder if they're going to elevate him to AAA. What happens to Story? All these, there's a lot of moves that can be made in conjunction with this. Are they going to bring back someone like Pettis? Or I'm sorry, Gary Pettit is is he going to be back here this next year? But I really think that you have to give Omar Lopez this. You have to put him in that position, not only because he's just been the first base coach, but now you get him in charge of making those managerial decisions. And I think he's very good at what he does. I mean, he obviously has won awards with the team. So for me, someone said Brantley is bench coach. Yeah, I don't think Brantley's going
to do a player.
Yeah, if you're going to do a player, it would be someone like a Martin Maldonado, but you put Omar Lopez there. Heck, put Martin Maldonado at first base. That would be awesome. Anyways, I love Martin in this coaching staff. But I still think, guys, don't be upset if they sign him as backup. I just think because of the way they're strapped money-wise and they're not wanting to go over that luxury tax, competitive balance tax threshold, I really don't think that they're going to go spend a lot of money. And if they've got someone like Maldonado who's drumming interest from like 4 or 5 different major league teams, he could be back as backup. And I know some people don't like that, but who else are you going to get to be a backup? So there are some other dominoes that need to fall now that this is, going to be announced. It seems like officially tomorrow, as you talked about from Chandler Rome.
Yeah. So definitely. But I think that knowing Jim Crane, he does like the fact that he likes proven commodities. And yes, they've seen what Espada can do, but I think that they're going to want somebody there to be, not to take over as manager, but just to be that mentor for Espada, even if it's just for 1 year. So that's why I think that they're going to be looking for somebody with some past MLB managerial experience. Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Right. But Omar Lopez has plenty of experience. I mean, he has
actual manager in the big leagues.
But you don't have, but the bench coach isn't always a former manager.
I know.
But Joe Espada.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but Joe Espada has been bench coach for how long? He was never a manager before that. Mm-hmm. And when they brought in Dusty Baker, if they wanted that, then I think they would have hired outside and not, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's great to have you back, Eric, because I love our discussions. I love our back and forth. I'm gonna die on the Omar Lopez hill, and that will be the banner that I'm gonna wave. And we need to make a bet. If Omar Lopez becomes bench coach, what do I get?
I don't get to slap you in the face. I don't know. Just kidding.
Oh, hell no, you're not slapping me in the face, bro. That is not going to happen. Not on my watch, buddy. No, but seriously, I just think it's Omar Lopez just because of what he's done, his experience, his relationship with the players. It just, to me, it goes hand in hand. Now, if they were to have gone outside of the organization, I think that Omar Lopez staying as first base coach makes more sense. But Omar Lopez is going to be a manager in Major League Baseball. He garners that kind of respect in the game. So, we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. And it just depends on what I think Jim Crane wants to do at this point. Does he want to go? And I know that Joe Espada, the manager, typically sets the coaching staff. He says, this is the guy I want. But I think that there may be some type of deal because Jim Crane said that he wanted somebody with a big name manager, somebody with some experience. And Dana Brown was the one that wanted Espada. So I think there was probably some type of concession. And they said, okay, Espada, we want you as our guy, but we do want you to bring in as your bench coach, somebody with past managerial, big league managerial experience. And like we saw that with the Braves. Walt Weiss is over there as a bench coach. He was a former manager. So that's just what I'm saying. So, but who knows? I think we wait to see if it's official tomorrow. I mean, I know it's official, but for it to become official. But
right. Well, right. And I just want to say this because this actual comment kind of reminds me of discussions I see going on Twitter. He said, I'm with Eric on this one. Joe Espada has not been in the shoes of the manager. It's not going to be an easy transition to make the tough decisions. But see, I think, no offense, but I don't think that's accurate. If they were so concerned with Joe Espada not being able to make the big decisions, they wouldn't hire Joe Espada. I mean, That's the bottom line. You don't give the keys to the Maserati to your 16-year-old son. Okay. You give the keys to the Maserati to your son who is 21. He's a sophomore in college and he's not yet graduated, but you give it to him because you know he's been there, he's been in the car with you, he's maybe taken it for a drive a couple times, and that's what I think is happening. That's what I think is happening right here, and that's what I think they do with someone like Omar Lopez. I see a lot of people, and I'm not saying that Fred is doing this, but yeah, didn't the Astros celebrate that they had 3 million fans in the building? So, well, look. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sorry about. Good Lord, remix about the money thing. Yeah, I don't look. Bottom line is this: Omar Lopez is my guy. I'm gonna make a Omar Lopez for bench coach shirt and have that out there. But who knows? They could go with the manager with experience, and that probably wouldn't be a bad hire as well. But I'm going to trust the Astros in this. I'm going to trust Jim Crane. Jim Crane let Dana Brown do his job. That's the difference between Dana Brown and James Click. Say what you want about James Click. People loved him. Dana Brown's actually getting to do the work, and this was not a Jeff Bagwell decision. I promise you that.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and give us a big fat thumbs up and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And we appreciate it. And we see all your comments. We don't get to put them all up, but we appreciate the interaction. We're one of the few Locked On podcasts that go live almost every show just for that very reason. We do like interacting with our listeners. And so become part of the Locked On Astros Nation. Go and watch us live on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube and help us to get to 20,000. And thank you for everything that y'all have done for us. So Joe Espada is expected to be announced as the next manager for the Houston Astros. So stuff that we still have to talk about over the next 3 or 4 months is what do the Astros do from here? We've both addressed it in podcasts recently. The Astros don't have a lot of money to go out there and spend. They don't have a lot of prospects to go out there and trade for. So what you do have is you do have some needs. You do need a backup catcher. You do need some help in the bullpen, especially with all the help. Like you're losing Stanek, Maton, and also Neris. And you're losing Michael Brantley. I know he hasn't played a lot this year with
Right.
injury, but when he played, you saw how valuable it is to have a veteran bat like that. So the Astros, one thing that Dana Brown brought up at the winter meetings is that you don't have to go out. We don't really need an outfielder. We have Diaz, we have Dubon, and we have McCormick out there. And Myers. Did I say Diaz? Why did I say
You said Diaz, yeah.
Diaz popped up on the screen. That's why I said Diaz. So, but we have McCormick, Dubon, and Myers, and then you have some other guys. Pedro Leon. He's eventually going to have to be given a chance. So if you go out there and get a veteran, then that's going to kind of throw that out.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get a veteran outfielder. I know people want like Jorge Soler, they want Luis Robert Jr. These are all kind of pipe dream scenarios. Look, I would love Blake Snell, Juan Soto, and Luis Robert Jr. And then I would love to, I would love to have all these great all-stars, these massive players on this team. But the bottom line is they don't have the money. They don't have the cap room, and it doesn't appear that Jim Crane is willing to go over the competitive balance tax, because not only is there an issue with the tax penalty, but it's also draft pick penalties, I believe, that come into play with that. So that definitely kind of muddies the water on that issue. So the Astros, Eric, I don't think they're going to make a big splash. I think the only way they could make a big splash is you have 8, or I've actually named 9 potential starters for next season. You could take 2 of your back end guys at the major league level, like a JP France, like a Jose Urquidy, and actually maybe trade them, maybe get something back. But I don't see them trading someone like Spencer Arrighetti. I think Dubin is going to come back, and he's going to be strong this next year. Going to be trying to get him on the show here pretty soon as he's doing his offseason prep. But I'm excited about Diaz. The backup catcher, I have no idea who it's going to be. I mean, there are names out there. I would love them to get Mitch Garver from the Rangers. Right. I mean, if you get Mitch Garver from the Rangers, you realize the intel you could gather from that one player. And he was clutch in the postseason. So it would be great to use him as a weapon because more than likely, you're going to be playing the Rangers again next year in the postseason. The likelihood of that is very, very much in play. And so the Astros have their work cut out for them, but they're clearly going for a backup catcher and bullpen help. Stanek, as far as I know, per a conversation with him, he has not heard from the Astros. And so he is, he says, we'll wait to see what happens with that. So I don't know if he'll be back. Hector Neris, gosh, he's that guy, Eric, that I think if they wouldn't have signed Montero to that big deal, I think they would have signed Hector Neris, so they would have the room to. That Montero contract is really causing a major road bump in keeping some guys that I think are key portions of this bullpen. I'm going to hate if Neris goes to the Mariners or the Rangers. I'm going to absolutely be upset about it because that dude to me earned his stripes more so than Montero. And Neris has the past, not just the outlier year that Montero had. So
yeah,
there's a lot of questions, and it's chess, not checkers at this point.
All right. Do you know how many managers there have been in Astros history? You cannot look it up. Just take a wild guess.
Okay, how many what?
Managers there have been in Astros history.
Hold on.
You don't
Nine.
know.
Nine? Yeah.
No. Including like half-season managers, there's been 23. So Joe Espada would be the 24th manager, and Astros.
23? There's been that many?
Yes. Harry Kraft with the Colts, then Lumen Harris, Grady Hatton, Harry Walker, Salty Parker, Liam DeRocher.
Salty Parker?
Yeah.
Does he have a grandson? Can we hire Salty Parker as the bench coach?
I don't know. Preston
Salty
Gomez, Bill Verdon, Bob Lillis, Hal Lanier, Art Howell, Terry Collins, and you could probably go from there. I don't remember. Bo Porter's in there, but no, it's Terry Collins, Larry Durker, Jimmy Williams, Phil Garner, Cecil Cooper, Dave Clark, Brad Mills, Tony Dave Francisco, Bo Porter.
Hold on, Tony DeFrancisco. What year did he manage?
He took over when Brad Mills was fired.
Oh, we've had some really bad manager hires.
So did Bo Porter got fired or let go. I forgot what it was in 2014. So Tom Lawless took over, and then AJ Hinch as a first-time manager came on in 2015, and he left in 2019. Then Dusty Baker 2020 to 2023. So that's
I would love to. It would have been great if they would have named Kaz Matsui. Remember him? The dude was like smoking cigarettes in the dugout during the game and stuff. He was like 48. He was like 40-something years old with the Astros. And I mean, he would have been a perfect manager candidate. He was like your old like throwback Bobby Cox, like smoking cigs in the dugout.
Right. So that does include the Colt 45s as well. So just FYI.
Okay.
Right.
Well, so Astros though, am I close? I guess am I close with the Astros?
Because there's only two with the Colt 45. So
man, they're like a modern department store when they hire like millennials. Like they get hired and 3 weeks later they're gone.
It's not all like in St. Louis where they have this Lasorda for all those years.
I know, but it's almost like a GameStop. I remember talking to a manager at a GameStop, and he's like, "Man, we're gonna have to close our doors." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "I will literally hire someone. They'll show up for work one day, and then they just won't show up and say I made more money getting my check in the mail than I do at work." And I'm like, "What?" Like, so yeah, it's just kind of a turnstile. So it's good. The golden era. Look, It's not over, folks. We're not done. The Rangers may have won the World Series, but who talked about the Astros being like ruined when we got beat by the Braves or we got beat by the Nationals? Nobody. But now all of a sudden, because it's the Rangers, now we're like, oh, they just trumped our card more than anybody. The Rangers are strong, but I don't know how long or sustainable their winning is. Okay, they paid a king's ransom for what they have, but is it sustainable? I think the Astros have a lot more sustainability going forward. What's going on with LMJ? Lance McCullers Jr. and Luis Garcia are expected to be in Minute Maid Park on the mound by July. That is per Dana Brown. They are supposed to be here by midseason. We'll see. Will a midseason, fully healthy Lance McCullers Jr. help the Astros go back to another World Series? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
In other words, we need a pitcher, not a belly itcher. That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. We'll be back tomorrow covering the Joe Espada press conference. What was said, what's next in the coaching search. Omar Lopez, somebody with manager experience. We'll talk about this and more on the next edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. And Go Stros.
Go Stros. Welcome, Joe. And Omar, take your seat next to Joe.